Sukuna just turned the tables on everyone again. But could this be another trick by Gege? Could this be Sukuna's final W before his imminent downfall and death? Are we about to get another Gojo type debate where it looks like he just won only for his death to be revealed in the next chapter? Something is off here, and that twist at the end was crazy, so let's get into it. I'm not gonna tell you guys how this works, you guys know how this works. If you enjoy my videos and you want to see more in the future, leave a quick like and comment for the YouTube algorithm. And if you want to help this channel attain special grade status by hitting 2 million subscribers, do me a huge favor and subscribe right now, we are so close. Finally, this video will of course contain JJK manga spoilers, so please proceed with caution. You have been warned. In the last chapter, we learned that the shocking death of Kenjaku at the hands of Yuta was all part of an elaborate master plan that was concocted long before the battle with Sukuna even began. We also learned that the sorcerers have placed a great deal of faith on Higuruma's domain, and more specifically, in his ability to summon the Executioner's sword. A sword that is believed to be able to kill literally anyone, even the King of Curses. The rest of the chapter was then spent on discussing the various charges that Judge Man could potentially bring against Sukuna, and this left much of the fandom thinking that we were about to see a courtroom showdown with Sukuna. There were all these memes about like Saul Goodman acting as his defense attorney and so on. But as the new chapter reveals, things are going to move a lot more quickly and a lot more dramatically than just some legal court case drama. The new chapter starts off with the fight between Hakari and Uraume. Hakari is trying to keep Uraume from linking up with Sukuna and helping him further since, let's be real, the King of Curses is overpowered enough already without the help of his little Heian era sidekick. Uraume is using massive amounts of ice-cursed energy to attack Hakari, but Hakari is able to counter with his incredible martial arts abilities and his own powerful cursed energy. Cursed energy that is notoriously rough, and it makes Hakari one of the sorcerers with the most potential. Uraume confirms that thanks to his innate technique, Hakari has absolutely incredible healing speed, and it's to the point that it even surpasses Sukuna and Gojo. It's safe to assume that Hakari managed to hit the jackpot last time he activated his domain, so now he's practically unkillable. The two combatants then get into a bit of talk no jutsu about human nature and whether sorcerers should still regard themselves as human, especially after their powers continue to grow. But the talking doesn't last long, and Uraume and Hakari quickly go back to their epic showdown. Meanwhile, the trial against Sukuna for the Shibuya massacre is in full swing. Higuruma explains to Judge Man that even though Yuji is the accused because the crimes were committed with his body, he is actually innocent because at that time his body was being controlled by his co-defendant, Ryome and Sukuna. Higuruma begins to make his case, stating that unless Sukuna can demonstrate that he was having some sort of mental issues at the time of the massacre, he must be found guilty and responsible for committing the atrocities that took place in Shibuya. But Sukuna doesn't have much interest in hearing Higuruma's big prosecutor's speech. He is fully aware of the rules of this domain, since he went through it all already when he was back inside Yuji's body, and the only thing that Sukuna cares about is the infamous Executioner's sword. Sukuna essentially says that he doesn't care about this legal process, practically insulting Judge Man and admitting his guilt along the way. And so Judge Man quickly rules that Sukuna is guilty, and the punishment will be confiscation and the death penalty. Now, what does this mean? It means that Sukuna will lose the ability to use his innate technique, and on top of that, Higuruma will be granted the power to use the Executioner's sword in order to end Sukuna once and for all. And yet, once his severe sentence is read aloud, Sukuna simply smirks. He doesn't seem worried at all. On the contrary, he is acting like everything is going according to plan. Higuruma is then granted the use of the Executioner's sword, and he begins to assess the situation as he plans to bring about Sukuna's downfall. Higuruma believes that Sukuna's ability to use 10 shadows might have been confiscated by Judge Man, but it's even more likely that his primary innate ability, Shrine, is the one that has been confiscated. Sukuna losing the ability to use his primary innate technique, along with Higuruma possessing a special sword that delivers guaranteed kills, means that the sorcerers finally have a realistic chance of taking Sukuna down. But don't forget, this is Jujutsu Kaisen, so just as things are finally looking a bit hopeful for the sorcerers, and just as it seems that Sukuna may be about to be at a serious disadvantage, it turns out that Sukuna gets the last laugh yet again. As Higuruma prepares to attack Sukuna with the sword, he suddenly starts getting slashed all over his body. And then we see Kusakabe running into the fight and trying to absorb some of the slashes to protect Higuruma with his own body. We also see brief glimpses of Choso and Ino, implying that they may be joining the fight soon, but as of this chapter they did not show up on the battlefield. In that moment, Higuruma realizes that if a target is in possession of a cursed weapon, then Judge Man's confiscation will be applied to that weapon instead of the target's curse technique. This means that the only thing that was confiscated from Sukuna was the power of that cursed tool that Uraume had given him back in chapter 237. And now that their plan to neutralize Sukuna's innate technique has failed, both Higuruma and Kusakabe are facing certain death at the hands of Sukuna's relentless slashing attacks. The only way to save them now is for someone else to step up and potentially make use of the Executioner's sword in Higuruma's place, if that is even possible. Let's be real, Higuruma alone can't go toe-to-toe with Sukuna. But if someone more powerful were to wield that superhuman weapon, then we would be getting somewhere. In the previous chapter, we were told that after he takes out Kenjaku, Yuta will have to hurry back to the site of the battle against Sukuna. So it's likely that Yuta is about to return and save the others by taking on Sukuna himself, possibly by using the Executioner's sword, if there is some way for Higuruma to transfer the use of the sword to Yuta. And if Yuta is not going to step in just yet, then our boy Yuji will definitely have to dig deep and reveal the true nature of his power right now. Otherwise, many of the sorcerers will die in the very next chapter, because the plan to deprive Sukuna of his primary innate technique has clearly failed. So what's next? Are Higuruma, Kusakabe, and a bunch of other side characters about to be one-shotted and KIA'd by Sukuna? Listen, it's definitely possible that a couple of sorcerers are going to be dropped for good by Sukuna. JJK doesn't mess around, and Sukuna has already killed off a whole bunch of significant characters in the story, so it could happen. However, I have a feeling that at the very least, Higuruma will survive, because his Executioner's sword is definitely going to play some role in this fight. And the two other characters who are going to play a major role are Yuta and Yuji. Let's be real, unless Zombie Gojo returns from the dead, no single sorcerer will be able to do a thing against Sukuna. Their only chance is to engage in some absolutely meticulous teamwork and to make full use of their unique curse techniques. These curse techniques have to work together with each other in order to catch Sukuna off guard. Now, with all the focus that was given to the fight between Gojo and Sukuna, the two strongest sorcerers in history, I feel like many people forgot just how overpowered Yuta Okotsu actually is. And like I said, unless Gojo gets wished back with the Dragon Balls, Yuta will surely play a key role in the fight against Sukuna. We know that he is a descendant of the legendary sorcerer Michizane Sugawara, the same ancient sorcerer who is credited with founding the Gojo clan. Because he is part of this prestigious bloodline, Yuta has an immeasurable amount of cursed energy, even more than Gojo. He also has access to Rika, the queen of curses. Rika has nearly endless cursed energy that can be shaped into any technique, allowing Yuta to copy the cursed techniques of others while he is connected to Rika. Yuta also has absolutely insane skills when it comes to reverse cursed energy. He can use it to heal himself, and he can also use it to heal other people. In fact, he was literally able to kill Yuji and then bring him back from the dead. That's how overpowered his reversed cursed energy is. The only other person who was able to do this was, of course, Sukuna. So this tells you something about Yuta's true power and potential. The man can even heal poison in others. He is just that OP. Again, I'm not saying that Yuta alone can take Sukuna, but I do think that Yuta is rushing back to the main battlefield right now because he is about to play a major role in this fight. What's more, the fact that we know that Yuta is a skilled swordsman suggests to me that he may be the one to wield the Executioner's sword against Sukuna. But even with all that, Yuta is going to need a lot of help to take Sukuna down. Some of that help may come from side characters like Higuruma and Kusakabe, but I think that alongside Yuta, the most important role in the battle against Sukuna will be played by none other than Yuji. You guys follow the manga, you watch my videos, so you all know the theory that Yuji's body is currently learning to use Sukuna's innate technique as we speak. I won't rehash it all here, but I think that Yuji's eventual ability to use Sukuna's curse technique combined with his power to manipulate souls will allow Yuji, Yuta, and the others to pose a real threat to Sukuna in this fight. The next generation of Jujutsu sorcerers is about to take center stage, and I expect big things from Yuta and Yuji, and to a lesser extent from Hakari as well. In the end, everyone will have to work together and make the best of all of their different curse techniques in order to stand a chance in this fight. And even then, the deck is still stacked against them. Even if all of these guys came together and executed the perfect strategy against Sukuna with the perfect teamwork, and even if they somehow incapacitated or maybe even killed Sukuna, even then it might not be over. Remember what Kenjaku said a few chapters ago. Even if he dies, there is already someone else out there who will carry on his will. It's highly unlikely that Kenjaku was talking about Sukuna here, Sukuna only cares about himself, so I don't see him trying to carry on Kenjaku's will. It's likely that Kenjaku was talking about someone else, and it's likely that this other person is directly connected to Kenjaku's decision to kidnap Master Tengen. And it's likely that all of this is about to go down in the next few chapters, so I can't wait to see what happens next. What do you guys think? Can full power Yuta with the Executioner's sword and new power Yuji actually threaten Sukuna? What is Kenjaku's master plan and who is carrying on his will? Are you still coping about Gojo's death or have you accepted it? I still think he's coming back, you guys. I know it sounds crazy, but I am still coping. By the way, if you're wondering what kind of soul manipulation power I was talking about earlier when I mentioned Yuji's new secret power, check out this video where I explain it all in full. Link on screen and in the description. If you enjoyed this JJK video and you want to see more in the future, leave a quick like right now. And if you want to help this channel attain special grade status by hitting 2 million subscribers, do me a huge favor and subscribe right now. We are so close.